welcome back to my doll collecting channel. My name is Sophia and today I'm going to be talking about the doll lines that I love but I will never collect. I just want to say the title of this video is a little bit overdramatic, but it's not a full lie. It's not a full lie because there's only so much space in my doll room and there's only so many types of dolls you can collect before your whole life starts to become overrun with dolls. So you have to be picky. I love so many different types of dolls out there, and a lot of these dolls, I love looking at pictures of them. I love watching YouTube videos about them. I have several Pinterest boards with these types of dolls on them. So believe me when I say I do love them and enjoy them, but I'm just not gonna open the door and start collecting these types of dolls. Number one, Victorian dolls. Now, this isn't a specific brand, but just more of like a time period of dolls. I love antique Victorian style dolls. I definitely think that they were the precursor or definitely an inspiration for American Girl dolls, especially characters like Samantha, who was one of the originating characters from American Girl. And I can definitely see the little references like Samantha and some of the other dolls from the early days of American Girl and Pleasant Company of having, you know, little trunks that you can put their clothing in, and Samantha's Victorian aesthetic and all the little accessories. Definitely I see a lot of references to Victorian dolls, so that's probably why I like them. And I love looking at pictures of them on Pinterest and pinning pictures of them, talking to other collectors who are collectors of Victorian vintage dolls. I love watching documentaries about it. These dolls are so cute and I love them. I mean, there is a small fear that I have of buying a doll that would be haunted. And this may sound weird, but I am a fairly spiritual person. So I would want to respect that doll if it does have a spirit in it. And I have a slight fear of that happening with me buying American Girls off of eBay, but I feel like there's less of a chance of that happening, but more of a chance of that happening with a Victorian doll. But I have mentioned on this channel before, because sometimes I get the question, do you think some of your dolls are haunted? And I genuinely believe that if one of my dolls were haunted, that I think that they, or at least I would hope that they would enjoy being on this channel. I do come down here almost every day, change their outfits, do something related to my collection, and usually I'm making a video about it as well. So I do think if a doll was haunted in my collection that I would hope that they would enjoy being in front of the camera. And I'm meaning this half jokingly, but I don't know how comfortable a Victorian doll that was possessed by a spirit would feel being on YouTube. Number two, and this is going to confuse some people, so hear me out. Number two is Barbie. And you're probably thinking, don't you already have a Barbie collection right behind you? Those are Barbie movie dolls. And to some people, there might be no difference. Some people might collect all types of Barbie, but I specifically seek out Barbie movie dolls because that's the ones I grew up watching and enjoying and having some of them. I really enjoy the Barbie movies, so those are the Barbie dolls that I collect. Now I do have some other ones that are pretty cool, but I'm not gonna go out and specifically collect non-Barbie movie Barbie dolls. Now, this is another thing that I really love watching other Barbie collectors. I like seeing images. I especially feel like the Barbie community is very creative when people come up with these little scenes, and I do gain a lot of inspiration from looking at other Barbie collectors and how they collect and how I view my collection and how I use my dolls. There's even some higher end collector Barbies that are, I don't quite know the differences, but like I know there's like Pink Label and things like that. I don't really know too much about it. And then there's like these $100 Barbie dolls, which are very much for collectors and are kind of more like art style dolls. And yeah, so that's a whole other territory. Next we have Madame Alexander. Now, I have great respect for Madame Alexander dolls. I feel like they're another kind of precursor to American Girl, kind of, slightly, maybe sort of, but they have definitely revolutionized the doll industry, and they are very iconic, have some very cool dolls that existed, and a few dolls that I would love to own. Like, there was a period of time when I would have loved to own a Madame Alexander Alice in Wonderland doll, because some of them are just so cute and adorable, and I love Alice in Wonderland. And there was a few times that I actually almost bought one off of eBay. But it's one of those things, once I open that door of collecting Madame Alexander, I don't know if I would be able to stop. Next we have the Disney 17-inch collector dolls. Now or maybe they're 18 inches. Again, I don't know too much about these dolls, but you will see these dolls that are taller. They're kind of like, you know, the fashion Disney store dolls, kind of taller, and I think they would probably be the size of an American Girl doll, to be honest. Maybe a little shorter, maybe a little bit taller. And there are these collector dolls that they sell for like a couple $100s, if I'm not mistaken, and they resell for maybe even thousands. Like I see people selling these Disney collector dolls in this beautiful packaging, beautiful designs, and depending on which one it is, it can go for a lot of money secondhand. And I think that that's awesome. I was gonna say crazy, but I mean that in a good way. Sometimes when I say crazy, people assume that I mean crazy in a bad way, but usually when I use crazy, I mean it in a very good way, very exciting way. And that's how I feel about these Disney dolls, is that it's amazing, the detail and the quality and how knowledgeable the collectors of these dolls are. But I just think that if I were to open the door of collecting these higher end Disney dolls, I would have no money. Next we have porcelain dolls. Porcelain dolls is one of those dolls that I do admire. I go to the thrift store and I see them and they're beautiful and they're nice, and I can see why a lot of people collect them. And even though I enjoy them, I don't get as much enjoyment from them as I do American Girl and other doll brands. I understand why they're very popular and people like to collect them, but it's just not for me, especially considering a lot of them you can't change their clothes, and they're more of like a really like display doll. And that was one thing as a kid, that I wanted to play with these dolls, but you couldn't because they were meant for display and you're not supposed to touch them because they might break and all that stuff. So yeah, porcelain dolls, you know, I still kind of have that thing in the back of my head, like, oh, I can't touch them because I'm afraid that they're gonna break. But American Girl, they're meant to be play dolls, so I feel more comfortable handling them. Next we have Bratz. Now Bratz, I have a complicated history with. I think I've mentioned this on my channel, I'm not sure, but growing up, I was not allowed to play with Bratz. I really wanted Bratz because I think this doll collector in me really admired some of the things that Bratz had done, like diversity and kind of giving Barbie competition and really changing the game of the doll industry. Because I really think because of Bratz, that led to things like Monster High, and then that led to Rainbow High, and it just led to a lot of creative innovation in the doll industry. So I really appreciate what Bratz has done, and I think as a child I couldn't articulate that, definitely couldn't articulate that, but I did admire the kind of newness of Bratz dolls. But because I wasn't allowed to play with them as a child, I don't have that special connection to them. But then also I have owned Bratz. I have owned Bratz that I found at a thrift store. Didn't have them for very long before selling them, just because they just didn't feel like they belonged in my collection. And also on top of that, I feel like there's other doll brands that came out since Bratz that I enjoy more, like Ever After High, like Rainbow High, you know, having those dolls with the articulation. And Bratz, because it was one of those earlier doll brands, it doesn't have the articulation, at least not with most of the dolls that I have seen or encountered at thrift stores. I have seen some other photos of dolls with articulation and I don't know what the difference is, but you know, it's just, I feel like, you know, Bratz, I really appreciate it for what it did, but I think that since then there's some other brands that I'm a bigger fan of, so I'll focus on collecting those dolls. Number 7 on this list is, I believe it's pronounced Tonner, or it might be Toner. I think it's Tonner dolls. And I actually found out about these when I was a kid, getting really into American Girl collecting, because I got into American Girl when I was, well, as a kid, but then as I became a preteen, I got way into the collector side of it, and I was going online looking at collector forums, looking at the history of American Girl, probably watching videos like this, and really getting into the history of American Girl and other dolls. And I came across these collector dolls, these Tonner dolls, and I love them. I think they're beautiful. They're definitely high quality, very, I want to say artistry is the word that comes to mind, like very artistic dolls that are very well done. But because of that, they are expensive. And if you haven't seen these dolls, the best way I can describe it is like an elevated Barbie. Now, Barbie now has the collector dolls, and so there is some competition with these dolls, but I think these dolls are taller than Barbie, but they're kind of like a fashion doll. I don't know if they're technically fashion dolls, but you can pose them and they have these cool fashions, and yes, like Barbie, but like a higher quality Barbie. But Barbie might have some competition now with their collector dolls. But anyways, these are really high quality dolls and I really admire them. But I don't see like too many people having YouTube channels dedicated to these dolls. But if they exist, please let me know, because I would love to give them a watch and a follow, because I am interested in learning more about these dolls. And this is the final type of doll on the list. And this one is a little bit different and it's definitely maybe not everybody's cup of tea. And that is living dead dolls. And if you haven't heard of these dolls, you're probably looking at me like I'm crazy, but yes, there is a line of dolls called living dead dolls. And they're these dolls that are like creepy and horror movies, and some of them are actually based off of like horror movie characters or iconic movie monsters or things like that. And they're just these really creepy dolls, and they're meant to be creepy and definitely like Halloween haunted kind of aesthetic going on. And I really do appreciate them. I think they're really cool. They come in a like a cute size, I would have to say. I think they're a little bit shorter than Barbie, and they're not really a fashion doll. I think they're like a really cute size actually for what they are. So I do like them. There is some really cute ones out there that are just really, really cute. And I'm saying, and some, as I'm saying cute, I'm realizing some of you might think I'm crazy. But yes, I do have a spooky side to me, and I do really appreciate these dolls. But again, I have to be picky with my doll collection. I can't just buy any doll that I like. I have to be picky and focus on the dolls that I love. And that being said, there's a lot of dolls that I love that I have to say no to. If you have a line of dolls that you love, but you're probably never going to collect for whatever reason, leave it in the comments section below, because I would love to hear what doll brands you love, but maybe you're not going to collect, at least at this time. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more doll collecting videos. Also, make sure to follow my Instagram accounts that will be linked in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.